Hey, welcome to the David Paul Seymour Show, and I am joined tonight by Caustic Casanova. 3 of 4 members of the band were gracious enough to hang out and chat with me tonight. And yeah, let's just see where this goes.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
All right.
All right.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you are. So, you know, the obvious, I guess, is like, how's quarantine been for you guys, and like, what kind of fun activities have you guys created to amuse yourself during this time?
Well, Andrew, why don't you go first? Because Francis and I live together, so I'd love to hear what you've been doing.
Well, my industry is considered essential. I work for the New York Credit Union Association in the mortgage lending arm, and shortly before the quarantine went into effect, they slashed mortgage rates really low. So we got a gigantic influx of stuff. So I work in the closing end. So just now the pipeline is starting to hit me really hard. So I've been busy. I've been working full time since this whole thing began. Yeah, full work days. And my nights are spent usually cooking. I've been cooking a lot.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
A lot of cooking, watching movies.
Yeah.
Trying to challenge my social media networks to guess what riffs I like to play. That's been a fun little thing I've been doing.
Yeah, those have been fun videos. I've been watching those.
Yeah, the latest one stumped a lot of people, but Dan from Supreme Commander finally nailed it down. I played Caboose by Snapcase.
Ah,
yeah,
great band, great song.
Great band, and well, they're from the other side of upstate New York, so I can't really call them my neighbors, but
Buffalo.
I rep the upstate.
Very cool. So what is the thing with the guest? So what is that? How do you do that? The guest riff.
I record myself playing a few seconds, or like about a minute of a song that I really like listening to and playing on guitar, and I just post it to Instagram. It's just something fun that I'm doing,
Right.
Making sure that trying to see what riffs I can remember or learn quickly.
Right.
Yeah, it gives me, I don't know, it's just a fun challenge for me to do, and basically a fun way of flexing my awesome musical taste.
Yeah.
That's and a flex that was indeed.
Yeah, the very first one was Buried Dreams by Carcass.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's pretty like, I wouldn't guess that from you, I guess, based on what you guys play, but I imagine you guys have like some tremendously varied tastes in music, even within each of yourself, you know what I mean? Like, and then you spread that around 4 people. I bet it's tremendous. Like,
yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Like, we all listen to a really, really bizarre and wide variety. On one hand, you have Fran and Steph who love like prog rock and jazz, and Jake is listening to whatever wild and out there experimental stuff, and I find myself gravitating towards a lot of like slowcore and shoegaze lately.
Yeah.
Cool. We all have a lot of different like influences and stuff, and we can talk about that more. But Jake, right before you joined, David had asked like how quarantine is going and like what you're doing and all that. So
yeah, sorry. Honestly, days kind of bleed together sometimes, as you all, I'm sure, have experienced. But I've been keeping myself busy. I've actually been recording a lot for various projects and kind of just like practicing. I've actually started learning sheet music again.
Really?
Yeah, and like other than that, I've been like remodeling this one room because like I'm staying in the country with my girlfriend right now. And her dad has like this outbuilding where he has like a studio where he teaches lessons. So we've been like laying flooring and painting and stuff in the meantime. But yeah, I have my own little haven where I can go record and play in peace pretty much any time of the day or night. It's really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Well, that wins, I think.
Yeah.
I'm still doing the wedding planning stuff too.
I don't think I've heard that. Yeah, Francis just said, I think Jake's story wins because our apartment literally caught on fire the other day. Like,
And they found out because I texted Francis.
Yeah.
And
Jake texted us.
an apartment, like the next apartment over from ours, so not literally ours, but our building is really small. There's eight units in our building, and it was the one like right next door and one level below. And we were just like kind of going about our business. We hang out with Fran's mom in Arlington sometimes. So we were there, and she was actually here. And around like 9:30 p.m., Francis got a text from Jake saying, I think your building's on fire. So like Francis and I tried frantically to call his mom, who was here, and she wasn't picking up. I think he made like 7 phone calls, and then finally we were like, oh well, she probably had to evacuate really quickly, so her phone, she probably left it, which was exactly the case. But I think she was out there along with the other like 7 people that live in this building for about 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, waiting for the fire department to kind of finish up.
It just stayed contained in the one apartment then, the one unit?
The whole second floor is all the people can't live in their apartments for the foreseeable future. So.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they're still trying to get the smell of smoke out. It's weird. It's like every level of the building smells like something different.
Yeah.
It's like there's a fire, there's like old person's home, there's cherry bathroom soap, and then on the 3rd level it's just kind of like all mixed together, and that unfortunately is where we live. So
that sounds like the world's worst multi-layered scented candle.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was like an awful dollar store candle.
Yeah.
Like you've seen those layered ones, right?
Yeah.
So it's a dollar store version of that.
Wow.
Well, fortunately, you guys live above that. What's that place called again?
Bushwallers?
no, creme de la creme.
Yeah, creme de la creme, which is like 30% scented candles.
Yeah, that's true. So our
So,
yeah,
like,
never
building-
been in
When
there.
the shit, like you
Already
should call
smelled
up the owner of that business to light a bunch of those candles, to kind of like waft it away.
That's not a fire hazard, so
Yeah,
it's a great idea.
Yeah, no fire hazard there. But yeah, anyway, so that was about a week ago. That was weird. But other than that, Francis and I are doing well.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of our time reading, taking long walks outside, doing some hikes, cooking, and playing music, listening to records.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the bulk of the time, doing exercise. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds like Jacob's doing the hardest thing, but it sounds like to me you guys are doing all the things, a lot of it that I want to be doing. Like the most I don't know. It sounds good.
What have you been doing?
Well, work for me is the same because I sit here for fucking 10 or 12 hours a day drawing it anyway. But, all I'm really lacking is social time with friends and, people that I normally would hang out in the evenings or at night, but I've got a wife and 3 teenage kids. So like, it's kind of cool because they're all kind of forced to just spend time with me sort of, but they still are hiding out in their rooms and listening to records and playing video games. And so, they're supposed to be
Not
doing
too bad.
Yeah, but I catch little glimpses. I think more now that this happened than if I would. But it sounds like you guys have never was really a cook. My wife always kind of did all the cooking and stuff because I'm always working. But I realized, like, I started cooking a couple of times when this happened, and like I realized, like, wow, this is fantastic. This is like such a great, like, therapeutic transition from from my work day. It's also nice to stand and do something for a while.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, right?
I spend way too much time sitting down because like I'm working at home, and like what I normally do is like I review a lot of physical documents, but we're all digital now, and like I'll just like disappear down a PDF K-hole, and like I'll forget to hydrate, I'll forget to pee, and I gotta make myself eat. Like I got to be like, okay, 2:00, I should eat now.
Yeah.
That would be a horrible cause of death. Death by PDFK hole.
Well, like I tried to like build a makeshift standing desk at my kitchen table using like some big weird Tupperware thing, and that worked. But it only works if you actually use it.
Right.
And I've not been
pretty
using
bad,
it.
I have to say. The picture looked like something that was going to fall apart in 5 seconds. But
Yeah, it was not good. But I kind of have a system now. I spend the morning at the kitchen table, and then I move to the couch in the afternoon after my lunch and shower break.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird.
I'll say that. I'm showering a bit less. But I'm not really around anybody whose opinion I care that much. So,
Yeah, it doesn't matter with what you do for work. You know what I mean?
the savings that you make on shampoo that you don't buy, I mean, that you can spend the rest of the year.
I mostly do the shower and put on adult clothes thing for the sake of my own mental health, because when I first moved up to upstate New York, I was teleworking for my job back down in DC, and it did a number on my mental health. Like there were a couple of days that like I didn't eat all day. I didn't shower like for 2 or 3 days in a row. It got really bad. So when this happened, I decided, okay, this is something that I absolutely have to make sure that I do for the sake of my own mental health. And I've been doing that, and it's been a lot better.
I imagine you have this little notepad, and like at the top is like it's your daily check. Shower, eat, pee. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Make sure that I drink enough water. That's a hard thing to do, because like when you're in an office setting in like a cubicle, you find excuses to like get up and walk around, go get coffee, go get some water. I don't have the external impetus to like push me to get off my fat ass.
Gotta turn it into an internal impetus.
Yeah. But then I'm just gonna start shouting "Impetus" like the Clutch song, and then I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, fuck it, I'll just listen to Clutch."
Are you a Clutch fan, David?
Well, this one I've literally tried to avoid this my entire art career, because I know there's a lot of people out there that we're running the same circles who are, and no, not really. I really I've tried. They're one of those bands that like I think Bob Dylan, Grateful Dead, and Clutch. They kind of rank in the same. I know. Apparently, I should, and I've tried, but I just can't.
I think we all have bands.
We all have bands like that.
Yeah. Any band that's like that's really good, in my opinion. If like everyone is like, they're pretty good. Like if somebody doesn't have a strong opinion about it negatively, I generally don't. I don't know. I don't trust those bands. So all the bands that I like, I'm happy to hear people don't like them.
Well, because it means they're doing something worthwhile. They're like, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I will say for Clutch though, not the other ones I mentioned, but with Clutch, like I've heard some sort of like live material, and maybe they're just that live band. Same with maybe like the Dead. I always heard like, well, you can't like Dead albums, you got to go see them live. Yeah, maybe, but
It's a very live band.
Clutch is amazing live.
Yeah.
But the albums, I don't know, but I'll leave it at that.
That's fair.
No, we can move on. Something we all like.
Yeah. Well, I definitely like. It's funny, is like I think I'm leaning a little more towards the couple there, because like I really do like prog rock and jazz a lot, among other things. But
we listen to other things too.
I know you do. That's actually something I spend a ton of time listening to, actually, though.
But yeah, Fran's been on a huge jazz kick lately.
Yeah.
And I actually was in jazz band in like middle school and high school as a trumpet player.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of that background, and I was exposed to it early.
What about the rest of you guys? You're in the jazz or no?
Yeah,
I love jazz.
I've always had an appreciation of it.
Andrew worked in a jazz club.
I did. I worked at Columbia Station in Adams Morgan in DC when Butch Warren, who used to play with he played with Thelonious Monk and Herbie Hancock. He was the leader of the house band for a while. Well, he was the name, not the leader. The guy's beans were a little fried, which is not surprising. The fact that he was alive was amazing enough. And the fact that he could still play, he was a fantastic player.
Yeah. I imagine anybody, maybe with the exception of Herbie Hancock, he seems like he's got it together. But people from that era, they, man, there was a lot of drugs,
Mm-hmm.
Not now anymore, with music or anything. But
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
No.
That's all gone. Yeah.
Yeah. What was that word you said?
Drug. What? Drug.
Yeah. Francis and I just watched a bunch of documentaries about jazz musicians, and
Herbie Hancock's in all of them. He is 90 some years old. He looks unbelievable. He looks like he's in his 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
That guy took care of himself.
He is like a clean living kind of dude. Like he seems to be, he might have touched the stuff and dabbled maybe. I don't know. I don't know a lot of these guys.
He just cares about music. That's like his drive, Like I mean, Headhunters is like one of my favorite albums of all time. Just like 4 songs. It's just perfect, Yeah.
Very eccentric dude.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Herbie's great, just in terms of the music that he's put out.
I mean, that he put out
That's all I mean.
like stuff that was really influential on hip hop in the 80s and like.
I'm a big fan of the Thrust album.
Yeah.
Getting into like the sci-fi jazz funk.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that guy.
Please don't fail me now. Yeah.
I like
one of the greatest.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Rocket.
Yeah. That came out when I was a little kid. That was before I really knew what jazz was, but it wasn't really a jazz, kind of track, but I don't know what that was, but
yeah, it's like unclassifiable when it came out. Like
yeah, kind of fit in with the maybe the Art of Noise or something like that around that time.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that just kept moving forward.
Yeah.
Not really content to stick to traditionalism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could kind of see Miles have gone in that way, like with his trajectory with Bitches Brew and the whole thing he was doing before, and like Fita wouldn't have died and it kept going, like.
Even when he was doing around the time he died, I mean, like, a bunch of those Miles records, like Tutu and the last one he did, like, there were some on Tutu, there's crazy, weird soundscapes and weird keyboard noises and hip hop type stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Miles Davis documentary that's on Netflix is A+.
It's awesome. You should watch
Yeah, I want to check it out.
All of you should watch it.
Yeah.
I really like that record he did. It was like a soundtrack for a movie.
Oh,
And but like In a Silent Way is probably my favorite Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great one.
I love that one.
I've been trying to be able to appreciate On the Corner, but which Francis finds weird because I'm a percussionist and it's full of like weird percussion stuff, but I don't know. It's just one of those albums, like Clutch for You. I've tried. I've listened to it a few times and it just sounds like noise to me, and I can't. I don't know.
Yeah, I can get.
I'm gonna keep trying though. Gonna keep trying.
I'm pretty predictable. I like Kind of Blue. It just, for me, it's got all the
Great
moments in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a fantastic album. It's the same thing with like Love Supreme. It's like,
yeah.
I mean,
everybody
of course
says
you like
that.
it, right?
Everybody says it's their favorite, but like there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because it's timeless melodies on both those albums.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Both of those guys they're amazing players. They were suckers for like an incredible melody. That's why Coltrane covered These Are a Few of My Favorite Things. Yeah. That's why Miles Davis covered Someday My Prince Will Come, on Snow White, like, because they knew like in great melodies, it's a great melody,
Yeah.
Regardless of
whether it's pop or whether it's from a Disney movie or whatever,
Somebody once compared like one of our live sets to a Love Supreme.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah, it was like
pretty good.
I mean to
compliment.
have that knee-jerk
At the
reaction.
same time, like,
That's
wow, like, how did you see that? Not that it's anything that we've ever heard or we aim for at all.
yeah.
Also, like, wow, that's pretty cool. Awesome.
Oh yeah. That's high praise. That would be awesome that somebody would say that, you know. But
Yeah, we all thought so.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said before I hit record, like I didn't want this to be like interviewee. Like I just wanted us to talk about just whatever. But I am a little curious how I'm just gonna ask it once and we don't want to spend a ton of time on it or spend all the time on it. But how did you guys like actually get together? You're such a rad band and like it's just so eclectic feeling, and it seems to like people like shows I've seen you guys play with certain bands, I'm like, that shouldn't work, but like everybody digs you guys and like you know, and it feels like it works with whatever crowd. I would think that like would come to see you, like it's enjoyable for all, you know. But so like how the hell did you guys do that? Like how did you meet? How did that whole thing work, you know? Was it there from the beginning or?
Well, Francis and I went to William and Mary, and that's where we met, and that's where the band started in 2005.
Yeah.
I think Facebook launched in 2004. Him and the original guitar player, they had this band for about a month, and they went through two of their friends as drummers who couldn't really drum. And so they were like, all right, well, we kind of want this to be a real thing. Let's look for a drummer. I had drumming listed as one of my interests on Facebook. And they searched for that. And I came to like try out.
Yeah.
And as soon as I played like the simplest beat I could think of, they were like, okay, cool, you're in. And,
That's true.
yeah, I mean, is that really how you remember it, Fran?
That is exactly how it went down. She played one beat and we're like, that's fine.
Good enough.
The other two people were like, yeah, I can drum. And they were like, you know, I mean, there's nothing more awkward than when someone says they can play an instrument and they really cannot, and you have to jam with them. It's the worst.
But anyway, that was in 2005. So, you know, that it's been 15 years in the history of this band. And so, you know, we can give you an abbreviated history.
Let's give the extremely abbreviated. The Stephanie and me and Michael, the original guitar player, we played, you know, for a while, and we put out a bunch of records, and we were in a college band, and then we didn't exist for a while, and then we moved to DC, and he had a lot of varied, weird interests in music, and me and Steph did. And so I think from the very beginning, it's always been about mashing together a lot of different stuff. And that's been the aesthetic of the band from day one, about trying to throw all sorts of stuff in the mix and make something that nobody else, that's what I'm always on the hunt for. Oh, I've never heard anybody do it like that, you know, or I can't really think of a way that it's been done in that way. And that's not that hard if you collect people with a lot of different interests and influences. So when we really wanted to take it seriously, Michael left the band. I've been waiting around my whole 20s to try to do something cool, tour, take a band a lot more seriously. Andrew was the best choice that we knew for, you know, doing that. So
he had become our very close friend through the scene, basically having mutual friends, and he would come to a lot of our shows, and we, you know, he was in a different band at the time, and we would go to his band shows, and so we just became really good friends. And this was all, you know, in the year or two before, you know, we were sort of at this, you know, crux of what do we do? And we had tryouts, you know, we tried out a bunch of people. Andrew was just the best man for the job, and it was an added bonus that he was one of our best friends at the time and remains so to this day.
And so we, you know, we continued on making a lot of records and touring and stuff with Andrew, and you know, we had a lot of mutual things that we liked, you know, music and other interests and everything. And then we decided to add a fourth person about a year ago because we knew that Andrew was going to move to Albany, New York for to move with his fiance who got a job up there. So we wanted to keep the band going, and we wanted to do something that a lot of bands just sort of devolve into chaos under those circumstances. But instead we decided to add someone so that we could have a 4-piece lineup as often as possible. And then when Andrew wasn't around, we could have someone else. Or, when Andrew wasn't around, we could be a 3-piece with Jake. So we chose Jake Kimberly without tryouts or without any consultation about anything, just because he was also the only person that we really knew that was our friend before, had been a fan of our band, and was capable of playing all sorts of weird music and liked all sorts of weird, interesting music.
Right.
So that's me rushing through it as fast as possible to say we all like really weird music and we all have varied tastes, and that's what makes it work. And that's why we can play with all these kinds of bands and play with indie rock bands and punk bands and metal bands, and we're comfortable everywhere because our Venn diagrams are so vast.
But there are bands that we all do like in common.
Yes.
I would say as well.
Our Venn diagrams overlap a lot, and then we honestly expose each other to a lot of stuff, so they overlap more and more and more. And then the very rare stuff that we don't like that the other people like, they throw into the pot when they play anyway, and then it's cool. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, as the 4-piece, we've been doing for a little over a year now. It's been going really, really well, swimmingly.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think, you guys were just the 3-piece. I saw you guys at MDF, but I don't remember what year that was.
That was 2018.
Yes, so we were a 3-piece.
Okay.
That was a 3-piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was super fun. Maryland Doomfest is awesome.
Yeah,
I actually put this on earlier today, not even thinking that this conversation was going to happen.
I literally started to tilt my monitor down to see the shirt better, but I realized that really quick that wasn't going to work.
It's not virtual.
I could do that.
Virtual
Sweet. That's
nice.
pretty cool. That's not
Did you do that, Art?
That's not the one I did. I did the one for the year I met you. Whatever, that was 18. Yeah, that was 18, right?
Okay.
I did that one. I think they like to, Mark was in charge of that stuff at that time, and I think maybe the following year, but he's since kind of dipped out of a lot of duties for that almost entirely, I think. But he was in charge of that. Maybe he's still in charge of the art part. I don't know. I know he really wanted to kind of shy away from a lot of those duties after that year, but he seemed like he liked to have a different artist for each year, which I thought was really cool, because otherwise it's just
yeah, it was cohesive enough but different enough to keep people interested.
Yeah, and that's also a praise to him too. He actually has hands-on with the art even after somebody like me does it. And I know he doesn't mind me saying this, but he actually colored it. Because if you notice, they all have the same color schemes, this kind of gray and purple, but he actually colored it. And I was like, yeah, dude, if you want to do that, that's cool. So,
that's interesting. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, I don't think any of us knew that.
Yeah.
Mark is a good friend of ours.
Yeah, we love him.
Mark's fucking awesome, man. He's like one of those few people you meet, you could talk to him on the internet, but you meet him in person, and within 30 seconds, you just feel like you're talking to somebody you've known your whole life, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. That's my experience with Mark. I mean, being a new addition to this band, I like being introduced to a lot of longtime friends of the band, and he was one of them.
Yeah.
And the first time I met him was Guido's in Frederick. I just after a beer, just we're old friends.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Guido's at that little teeny place that's right across the street from.
Oh yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh, it was. Well, look at me knowing. Hey, don't burn me out, man. I'm proud of myself for knowing. I've been to Maryland one time, so I mean that's.
Oh wow! Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, Guido's is a very beloved venue in the Maryland Doom scene.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gone now? Is that the deal?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, nobody really knows what's going on, but it was purchased by somebody else, and they're supposedly going to remodel it and maybe do shows, but they're going to change the name. And anyway, it's like it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
Lots of good memories there.
Yeah, lots of good memories and fuzzy ones.
That's where I met these guys, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we played with Jake's old band back in early 2016.
Yeah,
Yeah, we played with his old band, Morning Banana Diet.
that's the one.
That's awesome.
I feel like I've asked him before where the hell the name came from, and I couldn't even tell you.
I didn't pick it.
It's a real thing. It's a kind of diet.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Also, it was a great band.
Well, that kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you know. You know what? It is a great band name. I love eating a banana in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
I used to eat a banana on stage every once in a while.
We should bring that back.
We should bring that back.
You have brought it back. You guys kind of.
We are kind of a banana-themed band. Weird.
Well,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of banana stuff floating around in your.
You know what, Jake? We didn't want to tell you this, but that's really why we asked you to be in this band.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of just put two and two
Sorry.
together after a while.
We've all,
emanate from Jake.
Yeah.
we do all enjoy the banana as a fruit and foodstuff, but I think the fixation on the banana began in, I think it was on our 2015 tour. We were playing in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was this bizarre clusterfuck of a show. Vibes were really bad. There was this gigantic douche nozzle who parked a full-on tour bus in the alley that we were using to load in. He was just like this oily bastard of a person. And so I was in a crap mood. The other bands ate our pizza as payment. Like it was for us, and all of these other vultures like just destroyed our pizza before we could get it. It was like, you know, it was like the depressing dough with like a little bit of cheese, but it was like falling off. It was like, what the fuck is this? So Stephanie went out and got snacks from a convenience store. So she comes back with 3 Cliff Bars, and I think there was 2 apples and a banana. And I grabbed the banana for whatever reason, and I brought it with me on stage because I figure, what the hell, I can find a way to incorporate this in the show. I was in a weird headspace, but I'm like, I gotta fuck with this crowd.
Yeah.
This crowd is terrible. This show is terrible. I'm gonna make something of it. So during our last song that we played that night, we were doing our Melvins cover, and our Melvins cover ends with like this obscene noise freak out. And as we're doing the obscene noise freak out, and I have like 3 different delay pedals on, making all sorts of horrible noise, I started whacking the strings of my guitar with the banana, creating all sorts of atonal chaos. And I click on, like I start like creating this god-awful feedback loop, and I'm just standing there staring at the crowd, eating the banana. And it became a thing that we started doing, or that I started doing, just to add some weirdness to it. The most upsetting version of that gag was when we played the Black Cat opening for Kill Lincoln. I fed some of the banana to Francis, and it was really awkward, and I've not been able to look at him the same way since.
That was one of the highlights.
How you fed it to
Banana eating thing.
I think it's on YouTube.
Oh,
I would love to see that.
Maybe it's on
It's
YouTube.
very sensuous.
I'm gonna intersplice this little clip of that video like right here.
I'll see if I can dig it up for you.
Can you do that? You totally should.
Yeah.
I know who has a video of it. It's Javier Diaz.
Yes, he does.
That would be the person to ask. I'll try to find it.
Okay, because I don't know who that is.
Yes, I'll try to find it for you. It's very sexual. Its power is raw.
Well, I
Yeah,
was
interesting to watch from the back of the stage.
yeah, I don't doubt it sounds like it. I kind of picture where you were going with the banana, the whole thing, and it wasn't where I would have went, but I think that's just a difference.
There's really only one place you can go with a banana imagery. I mean,
Yeah.
But we never did that with the banana.
Yeah, and it wasn't intentional. I don't know. It just sort of morphed into this weird thing, and now it is what it is.
Yeah, it's the banana.
Yeah, we have like Chiquita Banana label stickers that we hand out on tour. It says Caustic Casanova on it, but it looks like the Chiquita label.
Yeah.
And we have the cow shirt. We've got it on
Pantheon Volume 3.
Pantheon 3.
Yeah, the album cover.
And honestly, until this interview, I hadn't really. I mean, obviously, it was obvious to me that Jake's other band was Morning Banana Diet, but we haven't incorporated that into the mythology of the band yet. But now we can say, well, it was obviously written in the stars that it was a banana themed band, and he was the only guy around with a banana named band.
Yeah, no one else can say that except for Melt Banana. I mean,
They were unavailable.
Yeah.
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 They were busy.
They were busy. And
Yeah.
it's the only band. Melt Banana is the only band that wears masks, so on stage. And now, we're all doing it. So the next Melt Banana show, they're going to be not so weird looking up there. We're all going to be wearing masks.
Whatever
I
that.
only saw Melt Banana once. To be honest, I didn't think their music would really appeal.
Good one.
Get it?
That was slick.
You just popped right in with that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
I had to. I'm sorry.
You're forgiven.
We all got to do what we got to do, man.
I parked Melt Banana's car once. Not that we have to tell that story, but I'm just saying it is a true.
Well,
it's a
we
true
wouldn't
story.
tell it. You're the only one who was there.
Yeah.
Melt Banana talk, but I'm saying I did park their car at Maryland Death Fest once because they couldn't parallel park.
Are you a good parallel parker?
It's one of my few skills in life.
And
I'm very sad that in my lifetime it'll be obsolete because with self-parking cars. But yes, I'm very good at it.
Francis is the kind of person who I feel like would override the self-parking function on a self-parking car.
Yeah.
Just to do it.
Yeah.
Just to do it. Just to be like, this is the thing.
Look, you're not going to take this from me. There's 3 things I'm good at. Playing bass and parking fucking
God damn it, Tesla.
Every time I parallel park, I literally think about that. I think about, God damn it, I've only got like a few things in this life, and this is going to be around very much longer.
Yeah.
Luckily, playing bass is another thing you have. So.
Yeah.
Well, I drive a Buick, and parallel parking that has there's a learning curve to that, I will say.
That thing is still alive.
Actually, no, it's indisposed right now at my parents' house.
Well, Jake, I've got us covered because I am currently, I have repossessed my mother's 2002 Mercury Sable.
Oh.
Yes.
Just as long.
Okay, Mercury, Lincoln, and Buick, they're all in the same I love all of them.
I love how these Buick commercials they've been doing for the last 3 years. They're like super working hard to make Buicks like all sexy. It's like, that's a Buick?
Yeah, but it's still just.
Do you really think that's sexy? No.
They're very regal cars.
Well, they have a model called the Regal.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's the same body style as the Chevy Monte Carlo, which, fun fact about me, the 1984 Monte Carlo SS, #1 on my list of dream cars that I will never own.
Yeah, my dad had a 76 and Super Sport. And it was the cat's meow about town, man. It was so sweet. Black faux vinyl, leather seat, or not leather but vinyl, they looked like leather and all that. Little red pinstripe, black. Just it was sweet.
Sounds
I
pretty.
want to take that to the ditch with like a 6-pack of Schlitz and blast Van Halen on the sound system. Hearing about that car.
It was super rad, man. And we didn't wear seatbelts back then, so I would just aimlessly walk around the front seat and just be like, "Yeah, look at us," look at us.
Pinnacle of cool.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to dig out and I'll see if I can find it. I'll throw it up here. The photo of me standing in the driveway when my dad got it, and I got my Fonzie jacket on and flipping up my collar. Like that.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
Love to see that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can dig that out. Cheers.
Cheers. I
Cheers.
think I need a refill.
Everyone take a drink.
All
I need
right.
a refill.
Cheers, Chug.
I realize if I move this can quick enough, it blurs. There's no way to tell what it is. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great summer shandy.
yeah. So what else we got going on?
Well, we're working on new music.
Oh,
We've got a lot of time to do that. Unfortunately, we can't all be together, to have practices and stuff. But Francis and I have been able to access our practice space, and so he and I do a lot of like bass, drum, duo stuff. We've been doing some fun videos. I have a second drum set that I set up. So we've been doing we've been doing double drumming videos, and that's been really fun. That was like a completely spontaneous idea that I just happened to think of when I was in the garage and I saw the drum set that I pretty much forgot I had in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been really fun.
I like the drum recorder or flute.
Oh, the recorder, yeah. Yeah, I recently found my 4th grade recorder from the time I was in the recorder club.
Yeah.
And I played "O Shenandoah," I believe, in that video, which is like an old Virginian folk song.
Yeah. You had everybody try to guess what the song was, I think.
Yeah, only one person got it right. Tons of people watched the video, but only one person got it right. And he was a music librarian.
Huh.
Shenandoah. Nobody knows Snapcase. We're striking out here.
Yeah.
Those are our 2 biggest influences.
Yeah.
Virginian folk songs and Snapcase.
Yeah. I can hear it. I did venture a guess, but I was wrong, obviously. So.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll do another one.
Yeah, you should.
It was supposed to be like a drumming practice session, like I think I mentioned in the caption.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I had a couple beers, a couple glasses of wine, and I found the recorder, and I was like,
yeah, fuck this.
Went with it.
Jacob, have you been sitting in front of that wall of records this whole time?
No, I just moved because it was really uncomfortable where I was sitting the whole time.
It immediately.
But I just moved over here.
Yeah.
Cue the question where Jake talks about records.
Yeah.
Hey, he didn't ask me anything, to be fair, about records, other than if I was sitting in front of them.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to start with this one up here first. Let me pull this
one.
We'll walk through the whole library.
Well, this isn't even my collection, personally.
All right, yeah.
Dude, you got to know when to, just own it. No, no one's going to help you out on that.
Yeah, you're right. I should have just, it's too late. It's in the past.
Step for yourself.
Yeah. I feel bad that this wall is completely bare, but this is the office, and this is my little workstation.
Yes.
Wow.
Cool.
Yep. That's your office where you actually work, huh?
No, my fiance works in this office primarily. She's a teacher. She's a professor of organic chemistry at Union College.
Oh.
So she's teaching via Zoom.
Okay, very cool. My wife and I are super into people who do science.
Yeah. My fiance is she's quite the scientist. She's very, very, very smart.
That is awesome. This is a totally random thing, but if you guys listen to podcasts much, and if you do, have you ever heard of the new one, Ologies? Have you heard that?
I've not heard of that one. I do like podcasts a lot.
Oh, it's super cool, man. You don't even have to really be that into science. It's just this gal. She just she has no background in science whatsoever. Her background is in entertainment, but she just started doing it in her closet, and it's Ologies, and it's every week it's a new ologist. And there's you wouldn't believe how many millions of ologists there are for shit you didn't even know existed.
Yeah. What's the weirdest one we can all think of?
Well,
weirdologist.
Well, I wish my wife was here now because my memory is really terrible. I actually have a little bit of a memory condition diagnosed, but she remembers all that kind of stuff. But it's I want to say there was a guy on, and whatever the ology was, I don't remember, because they all have really weird ass names that you wouldn't expect that means, but it's like it's a study of like animal dung or whatever, and shit like that. But then there's a guy on there who's been studying bats for 40 years, and there's a guy's like, studies. Well, like they had one on there was like kind of about beer, but it's like this guy's like about fermentation and stuff like that. So that he's a scientist for fermentation. So these beer companies hire these guys who know about fermentation and whatever ology that is. But it's really cool, man, because like you think like, I don't know, man, that sounds like, being stuck at school or something, you know what I mean? But like by the time it's over, you're like, I never would have thought that would have been so entertaining. Like I love, whatever ology now. That's so cool.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I just added it to my podcast playlist.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to check that out.
Well, I appreciate
I tend to.
People ask
Go ahead.
They ask you like, hey, you got any good recommendations? Or God forbid, you just throw one out to somebody, but like they never watch the show. They never listen to the album. So anyway, I appreciate you doing it. So.
Yeah. When I'm working, I go back and forth a lot of times between music and podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Just to like break it up. I find myself often gravitating towards this podcast from the Canadian Broadcasting Company. It's called Uncover. It's a little bit true crime, but there's more to it than just like grisly aspects of true crime. Like a lot of it like dives deep in like specifically into modern Canadian history, which is a lot more fascinating than the phrase Canadian history would lead you to believe.
Yeah.
Well, so it must all be about Rush, right?
Yeah. All the murders that Neil Peart committed before he died.
Right.
Most famous Canadian that I've heard in that podcast was archival audio footage of a young Alex Trebek reporting on a plane crash that happened in British Columbia in like the 1960s.
Wow, he's Canadian?
Yeah, he's Canadian. He got his start as a newscaster.
Great Canadian, eh?
Yep.
Yeah. That's
One of the old-time greats.
Well, you check out Case File. You ever heard that one, that Australian one?
I've heard of that one. I don't think I've ever listened to it.
Oh, dude, that thing's like huge. That guy went from like, doing it in his bedroom to now he's got all these assistants and big sponsors and all this kind of shit. But that doesn't make it good, but it is good.
Right. Cool.
Let's see. So I feel like I've taken like a ton of your guys' time. Like you guys like
We're just sitting around.
all right. I don't want to be that guy. Like I don't want to be that guy.
Doing that.
Yeah, what else are we doing?
This guy,
But you know what? I scheduled another beer pickup for my fridge. Just hold on one second.
Oh man, scheduling beer pickup is such an awesome thing. I recently had beer delivered to me.
Yeah.
In this quarantine, it's pretty cool.
It is cool. We're winning an award right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we're in first place, like by a mile, they say. So we're trying to keep this. So this brewery in our town, they just opened up like a few months ago, right before this stuff started, and so we were like, God, I feel really bad. Like, what if these guys go under? This sucks because I like this place, and they're the only one in our town. I mean, there's like 300 breweries in the Twin Cities area or more, but like in our town, they're actually there. So it's like we started ordering from them, and yeah, they were like, they all of a sudden said, hey, you know what? We're going to do a thing. Whoever orders the most growlers of beer from us during this quarantine time, when we go back into normal business, whoever did the most, you're going to win. Like, it's basically like beer for a year. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's worth it.
And we are in the lead. They count our growlers when we give them back to them. That's how they keep a tally. And, because not the sale, they count the growlers when you give them back because they want those fucking growlers back. So
Gotcha. Yeah. No,
yeah,
I'm not out to win any awards. Just hoping to support my local businesses upstate.
Yeah. Well, that's how it started. Because you realize now, like I can't not win now.
Yeah.
Can't even let it beat me. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I just asked what the brewery was.
Fat Pants Brewery.
Yeah, let's give them some publicity on this podcast.
Fat Pants Brewery.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's not the coolest name, and it's definitely not the coolest sort of like aesthetic that they have going on. But like they're just so fucking nice. You know what I mean? Like you go in there and they're like, you know, it's a dad and his daughter, adult daughter, and a mom, you know. So it's like these three, they start, it's like their dream, you know what I mean? And like, and so it's like, how can you not? I don't know. They always try to have bingo night, and they have like polka band, and like, you know, it's all this fun shit. It's like, no, man, these guys are really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bingo. That sounds very
Sounds
Minnesota.
cool. Do they like Jinkos?
Like what?
Jinkos?
What is
Jinko
that?
jeans? They're like fat pants from the 90s.
Oh, were those what those goth kids wore? Those big black pants with all those.
Yeah, like
where like the pant leg is this wide at the shoe.
Yeah, is that what they're called?
Parachute pants, and then the Jinko
pants.
jeans. Those are a little bit more mainstream for a few years.
Yeah,
But
they
everyone,
were like the thing to have in 6th grade.
I was always a Lee Pipes guy myself.
everyone always compared the size of the face. You know, like mine are 36 inches wide at the bottom.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Be like, well,
It was basically a preteen appropriate way to compare, you know, wang size. But like,
Sure.
instead it's your pants.
Yeah, yeah.
you
Back
had
in
to
my day, it was
compare
like how big your engine was in your hot rod, you know.
That's so much cooler than Jinko.
Like in hindsight, you see them and you're like, those didn't look good. They didn't look cool or anything like that.
I didn't think they looked cool then.
No.
They were always awful. Even though
Yeah.
I you know what? I didn't own a pair of Jinkos, but I did have a pair of big pants. I don't remember what they were.
I did because like, if not, you're cast out. Be cool or be cast out, man.
I didn't have them, and I was not cool. I did not have them.
Is that a lyric you just heard?
Yes.
I apologize for the beeping. My son, I think I may have mentioned it at the time. My son's he's out getting a root canal. So
What's that?
Oh,
Fun.
sorry to hear that.
oh, it's okay. I mean, definitely things could be a lot worse. That's something you can live with.
Yeah. Well, speedy recovery.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be okay. He's a resilient lad. So, all right, let's keep this going somewhere interesting.
Anywhere you want to go.
Anywhere I want to go. Let's see, we've talked about bananas and jazz and big pants and fat pants and.
You know, let's just talk more about Jinkos.
Okay.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody wants to remember that.
I'm actually curious though how that whole thing fucking got started though. Like did some kid make a pair of those and then they just caught fire, or like did some company go, you know what? I bet a lot of fucking kids are gonna be into this. You know, if we that you got these big gigantic fucking pants.
Bumper crop of denim.
Yeah, yeah, right. I got all this extra denim material left over. We need to do something with it. But
Yeah, man, I don't know. I think like
skirt pants were a thing.
It came out of skateboarding culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
skateboarding and probably a little bit from rave, I'm sure.
yeah,
Because the pants were just getting bigger and bigger in skateboarding, and that was just like it was.
It was huge at the time, dude. Like skateboarding, like in the mid '90s to like 2010, that was like the peak popularity of like I would say.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was an '80s skater, you know, and we wore things that weren't very comfortable. But then again, big huge pants, man. I can't imagine you get those hooked on. Those seem like they just go under a wheel real quick, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that in hindsight, that does seem very dangerous and counterproductive.
Yeah, I think you have to find a middle ground. Yeah, now it's skinny jeans are all the rage, and
Skinny jeans actually make people look good, which is why on some level they'll always be popular. Whereas Jinko and wide leg jeans make almost everyone look bad.
we were talking about this the other day, actually. I kind of feel like the 90s are coming back. Like the 90s trends are coming back. I've been seeing chokers. I've been seeing like some of those like long sleeve shirts with like the stripes going down the side. Those
I love
in the 90s.
yeah. I'm trying to think what those were.
I don't know if they really had a name, but I've also been seeing people wearing like long sleeve shirts under short sleeve shirts more than usual in the last.
That is a very 90s thing.
Yeah.
That was a super 90s thing.
Yeah.
Belly shirts last summer. I even started seeing some of those. Do you remember the like belly piercings?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That thing like in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Incredibly, I never did.
I mean, even before the 90s had a resurgence, I was looking more and more like a X Games competitor from 1997. Like,
I did a show with the 5-time gold medal for X Games. That was pretty fun.
oh, cool.
In what sport?
Sorry, skateboarding. That's the international symbol for skateboarding. You do your two fingers like
Oh, yeah.
you're doing tech decks.
Right. Those
I'm in tech decks.
little ones, right?
Yeah, tech deck. What?
Those little skateboard decks,
Yes.
the little mini
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
They're-
I had so many of those because like I was just obsessed with skateboarding when I was a little kid. Like I actually still skate. I mean, I've been skating longer than I ever played guitar or anything like that.
Wow, you still skate now?
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's how I got to work until like when I was still living in downtown Frederick. Like that's how I got to work every day. That's something I really miss is skating, like being locked in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
Fixture flying down the streets of Frederick, Maryland.
I tried to learn how to skateboard so many times when I was a teenager, but like,
I feel
am
like you just got to start early.
I'm
Like,
just naturally awkward.
yeah.
And like, I my tendency is to just like flap my arms like a rabid goose.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Seems to be accurate.
I was awkward too, man. Don't feel bad. I broke both my arms and both my legs and one of my legs, my left leg, and then dislocated my kneecap.
Skateboarding?
Yeah, all skateboarding.
Wow.
God damn.
Luckily,
Yeah,
I've never broke anything. Knock
Yeah.
on wood.
Man, I'm sorry. The dislocated kneecap actually did that on stage one time.
Oh shit! Stomping too hard.
90s.
Was it worth it?
No, it was really terrible, man. We had a good friend who liked our band, and he was a singer of another band, and he knew all our songs, and so it was that dumb thing like, coming up here, man, and sing, this song, and he was really jumpy, like he liked to jump around in the air a lot. I mean, we did too, but it's different when I'm sure you guys know, like, your own band's dynamic, kind of know where your zones are or whatever, but like, this guy's just jumping wild all over the place, and I never had a pedal board or put my pedals, taped them down or anything, so they're like sliding all over. And I extended my leg to, engage my distortion pedal, and he was coming up in the air, and it came right down on my kneecap, like my leg extended out, and it just went wrench, and I hit the stage, and it was really funny because like those guys kept playing, they finished the whole fucking song, and friends of ours go, man, those guys are pros, man, but like, I asked them later, like, why the fuck didn't you guys stop and see what was wrong? Because I was like blacking out on the stage. I was like totally unconscious.
Oh my god.
No, it's like the worst fucking pain you could ever imagine, man. Dislocating.
I can't even imagine, man. That's brutal.
Yeah. I was like, why'd you guys stop? And so they're like, man, we just thought you were getting weird. Like, they literally like, and I'm like, man, I got to stop being weird on stage. But yeah.
That's funny.
What was the name of your band?
Revision A.
Revision A.
Yeah. Good luck finding anything. I don't really think there's anything out on the interwebs, thank God. Yeah, we didn't really set the world on fire, man. I found, but I mean, we had that band for like 5 years, maybe 6. And, we put out like 4 cassette tapes and a CD, and we were working on a second CD when we broke up. But yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely. What?
I don't like to talk about much. That's all I was gonna say. I never talk about any of that stuff. So.
And I've definitely eaten it on stage without actually intending to, but nothing ever to the point where I was legitimately injured. But the band I was in before Caustic Casanova was like very much a punk band, and there was a lot of chaos. The singer would like climb on shit and like run onto the bar and do all sorts of dumb stuff like that. And me, I would bounce around like some rabid monkey, and I have like bad knees just from a lifetime of shitty posture and flat feet. And multiple times I've like jumped up and landed, and my right knee just said no. And it would buckle, and I would fall flat on my back.
Yeah.
But, you know, did my best to keep playing.
Yeah. Boy, there you go. That a boy.
But I've once performed wearing a dress that fell off, and I finished the set wearing nothing but boxers and sneakers. So once you do that, there's really no point in having any kind of shame.
No, and I think once you do that, and everybody is expecting that after that, you know, you
Bar's low.
And it didn't happen again. The dress was very ill-fitting.
As it should be.
We were dressed as the Gilligan's Island gang. I drew the short straw, and I got stuck with Ginger.
Hell yeah. I could see it. I'm into it.
I'm into it too.
Are there any videos of that, Andrew?
No, shockingly, nobody took photos or video, or if they did, they never flew.
Not true, because there are photos, and I can send those to you, David.
Yeah.
You can throw that.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Not in there because I haven't seen those.
I have.
Yeah. Please,
Wait,
please
I've
don't.
never seen these photos.
Please be keeping a running list, please.
That was a funny show. I fell asleep on the DC Metro in Northern Virginia, and then I woke up in Prince George's County, Maryland, after the Metro had closed. So that was an expensive and angering cab ride home.
Is that a long distance? I don't
It's
really.
a long distance, yes.
It's like a 40-minute drive.
Oh, yeah. That's
It was
I guess.
bad
I was
news.
thinking it was like you were like 2 states over or something like that.
Well,
He was technically.
yeah, technically he was, because it was like DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Yeah.
He ended up in Maryland, went through DC, started in Virginia, I think. So
Yeah, like the entire length of that Metro line.
Yeah.
It was dog shit.
You guys live in the what's that guy's name? Like the John Grisham hub or something like that, you know? It's like all the great stories about like, you know, government, you know, powers and conspiracies and weird things, you know.
I think that's David Baldacci.
Oh, it can't be. I don't know, because I don't know who that is.
There's a lot of John Grisham.
Maybe it's not John Grisham I'm thinking of, you know, but it's like
Tom Clancy.
yes, I think
Ah, that's the guy.
my dad read them all. I didn't really read. I just watched the movies of that stuff. But,
Yeah, clear and present danger.
yeah.
I remember being in 8th grade thinking I was the coolest motherfucker ever because I did a book report on The Hunt for Red October. Still have never seen the movie.
Great book.
Oh, that's terrible. You didn't see the movie, but you wrote the
I read the book.
Oh,
I did read the book.
fucking idiot right now. Never mind.
Eh,
I'll cut that out.
So can you you have freedom to kind of like manipulate these as you
I'm just gonna
Like-
edit it later.
edit is what I mean.
Yeah, I can edit the entire. I can only edit the entire thing because we're all just sitting on one screen. So I can't I can't edit It really sucks for audio too because I had one that was like the guy I was interviewing his audio was so fucking hot and like I just basically had to curb him down and I'm like super low, you know. But it sucks for these kind of things. It's all one audio track and you got 4 screen.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm so glad the 2 of you are like in one place together because it makes for this nice little 4-pack grid right here, you know.
Oh,
so
cool.
aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. We also have the same haircut.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier, I was like, it's getting to that point. My hair is the longest it's ever been, probably.
Mine was really short, and I'm kind of like in the process of growing it back out to really long.
You're gonna grow it really long?
Yeah.
Are you
I
guys
haven't cut my hair since the album release show.
Wow.
Nice.
Hey, it's Danzig.
I need to listen to his Danzig Sings Elvis album that just came out.
No,
Not like because I'm a particularly big fan of Elvis or Danzig, but because like it's been teased for the past 40 years.
he literally came out with an album where he's singing Elvis songs. Are you shitting?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's literally called Danzig Sings Elvis.
Oh, I hope it's just every bit as good as the last one he put out, because boy, that was great.
My favorite recent Danzig performance was him getting punched out by Danny from Northside Kings.
Oh,
This is old news.
now, man. That's not respectful to punch, dude. Like, he's pretty fucking old, to be honest.
There's a lot of backstory. It was 15 years ago,
Oh,
but
no,
It's not news at all.
no, it's not news.
From the Bush administration.
But it's a thing that happens. But like when you read the interviews with the guys from Northside Kings, which, by the way, they made a music video that kind of pokes fun at the Danzig incident. It's hilarious. I recommend it.
Yeah.
But like Danzig was being a gigantic ass to them.
Sure, I'm sure he was.
And he shoved first. Danzig shoved first.
Danzig drew first blood.
He did, but
Yeah, it's like Greedo shot first, but it's Danzig.
yeah, man. Danzig went down real fast.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do like Danzig, I will admit. Like, I'm a fan of the whole guy's whole fucking, like, pantheon of his career.
I like Danzig too. That first record is pretty perfect.
The solo album, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it is, man. That's actually one of my favorite albums ever. I mean, that's a rock solid fucking album.
Twist of Cain is one of the nastiest, most evil riffs ever written.
Not even that, man. The second half without all the hits, well, I guess Mother's on the second side, but like the last 3 songs on there, dude, like they're fucking ridiculous, man. Like,
Forget what those last 3 are. I'm gonna pull that up.
Call Me.
I haven't heard that album. I'll have to check it out.
It's a great record. It's like
Few Danzig records are all. I mean, I think all this stuff's pretty cool, but the first few are really, really good. Weirdly enough, I haven't listened to that record in probably 5 years, and last night I had a dream about the song "Twist of Cain." I woke up and I had the song in my head. I was like, God damn, that's a really weird memory to bring up.
It is weird,
Really
man.
think
It's
about
like, how
Danzig.
the hell sometimes you get those things where you dream about something, you're like, where the fuck did that come from? That's so
Yeah.
random,
Twist
I
of
dreamed
Cain
about
been up here somewhere in some lobe, just waiting to be unleashed. Now
Yeah.
I can free that space up for something useful.
Cover.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. 7-inch.
Oof. I don't know. We've got so many like cover ideas already.
Yeah.
That would be actually not.
backed
That would
up.
be a pretty easy one to do, though. That's not a super complicated
Yeah,
song.
you don't want to do a cover just because it's easy, though.
yeah.
We would do a cover because David Paul Seymour asked us to.
Okay. Well, if
Yeah.
we'll do it.
Yeah, side A would be a Danzig cover. Side B would be us finally getting around to a big country cover.
If you
Yeah.
officially ask us, we will do it.
Oh, I'm asking. I don't have any shame in that. I'm definitely asking. That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Simple as we all know, it's like, it's all about like style and passion though, Don't be scared, Steph, just because it's simple.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'll find a way to make it
Yeah.
more
I could
complicated.
see you blasting out the Chuck Biscuits. Come on. It's just a neighbor. Quit. I gotta give it to him. He's been good for a long time.
Well, we all love dogs.
Yeah.
Come in. Bring him in.
Do you want to come? He probably won't come in here because he's very distracted by there's a lot going on out here right now. So, yeah. Hey, Scooby. Hi.
What's
Scooby.
the dog's name?
Scooby.
Oh, nice.
What kind of dog is he?
Well, we got him from, he's a rescue dog. We got him from the pound, and he literally, like, he's a big dog now. But, like, when we got him, he's only 2. When we got him, I could hold him all in my one hand, But, like, we got, like, a DNA test done, a dog DNA to see what he is. And he's English, English. God, I feel like such an idiot right now. Damn, you put me.
Okay, so I had a dream and we were in this venue, like Caustic Casanova was in this venue, and just like based on the way it looked, I feel like it was just an amalgam of like some Florida venues that I played. It just looked very classic, like Florida to me, and I just thought that was so funny. That's like the only part I remember from my dream was that bit, you know, because like dreams are so crazy, and mine are always all over the place, and especially recently. Just like being stuck inside, I feel like I'm just having such vivid dreams. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing that, but like
I think I saw somewhere that that's pretty widespread right now.
yeah,
Definitely seems to be. I read an article about that a few days ago. People are like reporting all sorts of crazy dreams.
Well, if you don't have to get up at a specific time, you're much more likely to retain your dreams. If you just like sit in bed for the 10 minutes after you wake up, you'll like remember the dream all day. But if you get up and get in the shower and go to the bathroom, it like erases from your memory. So I bet that's why a lot of people are like, I don't have to do anything. I'll sit here, and it just gets written into your brain.
And also people might be sleeping longer, you know, so more time to dream.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. That's cool, man.
Oh,
Sleep is good for you.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
Yeah.
my wife likes it a lot because I'm like way fucking cooler right now, you know, from the little bit of extra sleep. So
that's great, man.
Yeah.
Glad to hear you're rested at least.
Yeah, I'm pretty well rested lately, which is very nice. Definitely gained a lot of sleep since I moved up here. Before I moved to upstate New York and I was living in Frederick, Maryland and commuting to DC, I was commuting a total of 4 hours every day.
what?
Yeah. 2 hours down, 2 hours back.
Wow, man. Yeah, the move sounds like it made sense. So is that how far you moved? It's like 4 hours away? Or 2 hours?
No. I'm in upstate New York now.
Yeah. I told you before, I can't apologize because I already said it. I'm terrible with geography, man. Like really.
I'm like 3 hours north of New York City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 7 hours from us.
How far?
7 hours from the rest of the band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that blows.
Yeah.
That's good though that you guys worked out the whole guitar arrangement thing, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's good. It's nice to know that
It's a real.
when this is over, that
Yeah.
I know I'm getting the itch to jam. I've had the itch to jam for a while now, but it's nice to know that I have people to jam with when this is all over.
Yeah.
We'll all be pretty itching to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, it sucks you guys don't have wow, my thing really slipped. It's not my comfort zone. You guys haven't, I guess, been able to work out a way to have like remote practice sessions or anything like that. Probably.
I mean, if this were a different situation and we're going on longer, like we would figure something out. And like depending on the situation, we may still like start to trade some stuff. But there's no lack of like ideas or material that we've had. You know, like
Ever.
like yeah. It's more about, for us, it's more about winnowing down the millions of ideas we have. So it's not like we're, you know, and we're already, you know, we're in the middle of making another record. Like there's never any lack of ideas or stuff to do in Caustic Casanova. So,
right.
you know, right now, you know, if this were like, you will not see each other for 3 more months, I think we'd start making preparations to start working on some stuff remotely. But
right
now, like, you know, we've been going so hard since January of last year, since Jake joined. It's been like nonstop. So
probably a nice break. Maybe.
The first month was like, it kind of even felt right. It was like,
Yeah.
you know what, we can kind of take a break. Like we're in the middle of, you know, we're in the middle of a record. We're in the middle of a cycle on a new album that we've that's been out since October, and you know, there's just we're always working, we're always doing stuff. So
Yeah, I mean,
There's like
we toured basically nonstop from August to the beginning of December, end of November.
Yeah.
And, it was awesome and it was fun and we love touring and we tour a lot. But, we also released a record, in the middle of that time. And it was just a lot at once. So it was a nice break. But, now is kind of the time where at least me, personally, I'm starting to be like, okay, like I'd love to be having band practice now.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned earlier, luckily Francis and I can jam together in our practice space. So that's been great.
And there's a lot of stuff that, with regard to just like boring administrative work of the band that I've been wanting to do for like at least a year. That is just the time has eluded me to do it, and we've been working on organizing, all of our contacts and everything in a way that'll make it a lot easier to tour, and especially for Europe. So the time's not being wasted. I'll put it that way. Even if the four of us aren't playing together.
Right. No, that's good, man. I think some of this stuff has wound up being, to some extent a blessing for some, in some regards, in everybody's life in one way or the other, you know what I mean? And like, whether it's forcing people to spend more time together where they haven't been, whether it's families or couples or whatever, to things like you're talking about, so or maybe just forcing you to take a fucking break because you've been working too hard,
Yeah, I think it's calcifying a lot of things for people about whether, about this, that, or the other thing about their relationships or the way people are working or whatever. I mean, it's isolation does bring a lot of things into focus for people. It makes you focus on your priorities, and so there's a lot of that going around.
Yeah, for sure. So before Andrew, before you moved to New York, or I'm sorry, before this shit happened with COVID, and you were in New York, right? So like,
Yep.
How frequently were you guys getting together to practice? Was there some sort of regular, like a once a month thing, or every couple of weeks, or?
Well, what had happened was like I played with them in early November when we did the Day of Doom festival in New York City. Then you guys went back on the road. They went back on the road like November and December, and then we had the Christmas holidays, and like I was doing wedding planning stuff throughout February, and then that brings us to March when everything got shut down. So there wasn't, like, they were busy with the tours that they had booked. I was busy doing my own thing because that's just what needed to happen for the sake of all of us and for the band. And it just so happened that our timelines, such as they were, synced up with the quarantine.
Yeah, Andrew had just moved like a week or two before or after we left for the tour. Basically the 3 months of touring that we did in the fall of 2019.
Yeah.
Francis, me, and Jake. So we never kind of had a period where, an extended period where we needed to focus on practicing with Andrew and him coming down or us going up or anything like that. So that in a way, it just sort of all fell into place that way.
Yeah, and like before, like during the time between like the legs of their tours, even after I moved, we did the album release show in October. I went down to DC to practice the week before, and I came down the following week. And then when we played in New York City, we met up at a rehearsal studio in northern New Jersey to practice for that show. So we put in the work, and we made the arrangements that needed to happen to get it done, because we all care about the shows that we played and the record that we put out. And I cared enough to play that New York City show that had jumped through a lot of hoops and found the rehearsal studio, and didn't really sleep, traveled way too much in a really short amount of time. But it was good. It was worth it, because I would have been very upset if I didn't play that show.
That was one of the best shows we ever did.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite shows I've ever played my whole life. I mean, that was such an amazing experience.
Couldn't agree more. It was an amazing, it was just to share that with all three of you was such a special.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was going to say, not to cut you off, Andrew, was like, if you were to describe what this band has done since Jake joined, for us, it's just, oh, that's what we did. But 2019 was insane. Like, if you were to describe on paper what we did for 1 year, as far as the way we operated, like that, it was an insane amount of work. It was 1 year of working nonstop. And
I moved like twice in that time as well. Like, that's crazy. I moved houses like twice in that time, like somehow.
Yeah, like our personal lives were also crazy, but like if you didn't even count that, it was like what was actually done was nuts. And then we had Andrew moving states and Jake moving twice. In that, no small thing, but we worked.
Like the first thing that we did when Jake joined the band was teach him our 22-minute song that's gonna be on the next record. And so we were kind of like, is this too ambitious? Do we include him? Do we not? And then, we all sort of decided, no, it'd be awesome to add another guitar player, especially someone with his vision to this epic song.
Yeah.
So he joined the band in like January or something, and we recorded it sometime in February.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we did.
Yeah, we recorded a 22-minute song plus a Black Sabbath cover. Yeah, Fran, I never thought of it that way, but like the amount of work that we did was crazy.
I mean, 20 was madness. It was like 4 people working nonstop on music for 6 months and playing like 8 or 9 shows.
You played a lot of shows.
10 shows, maybe.
And a weekend or two Ohio in there. Like we did like a 3-day like Ohio stint.
And then we worked constantly and recorded and worked constantly for 6 months. Then Andrew moved, and then basically me, Jake, and Stephanie toured constantly for another 6 months with small breaks to do the 2 most consequential shows of our career as a 4-piece, which is our release show for the record and this festival at St. Vitus in New York.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was like, we didn't get to Europe, but I can't imagine, outside of that, how it could have been possibly any more crazy as far as the amount of work that we were putting in.
But we will.
We will get to Europe, but I can't, as far as the effort, we could tour an entire year and I don't think it'll be as much work as 2019 was. Just with the addition of putting someone new in and learning old material and adding new material and planning touring, with a new person that hasn't done it. And it was
Yeah, you guys got all the hurdles out of the way now.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah. No, I think Europe would be super rad for you guys to be, I could see that being really cool. I mean, just the experience, but I think the reception would be really, really awesome.
Yeah, we're certainly going to go.
We're definitely ready.
Hopefully this year doesn't seem realistic, never say never, but definitely next year. If not this year.
Yeah, I've read a lot of accounts that say that gatherings or music, concerts, whatever, public, whatever. It's like they're talking like fall of next year. You know what I mean? I don't know. Seems like those things can always have a tendency to kind of walk backwards and get closer, as time goes on. But like,
can only hope. Yeah.
This year definitely does not. I don't know. Just doesn't seem like viable to me. Like that's my prediction anyway.
Anything we're going to schedule this year is going to be something that anything we do as far as scheduling is going to be stuff we'll be fine with it being canceled. Put it that way. We'll schedule stuff, and if it's a week-long tour, there won't be any devastation if it's canceled. Especially because we're trying to organize all our ducks in a row right now, so that it makes booking a tour super easy. With spreadsheets and all this updated information that's very current as of this year. So, Steph and I could book a week-long tour for this band in 3 or 4 days, doing most of the work. So it won't be at the end of the world if it's canceled.
Well, I hope we get a chance to get back to these things. I mean, I know we will, but it's that thing where you're like, everybody's itching to do it. Everybody wants to go rock out and be rocked, and like you want to get back into it, but like everybody's like, oh, but I don't know, man. I want to be safe, and I don't know how much people are going to want to get together in those social situations, even when the curtain gets lifted to go ahead, to do it. Like, are people going to want to do it, or they're going to be scared to do it? I don't know. But
some people will be desperate. Some people will be so ready to do it. They'll be bursting venom. So
Bursting like a banana.
Bursting like a squeezed banana.
A squeezed banana in jeans.
I stumble on squoze to put. I do stuff like that a lot. But I should just run one and say squozed banana. Who cares?
Yeah, squoze banana.
It was squoze.
Yeah.
It has a nice ring to it.
I came up with a phrase slack banana. I don't know where that came from, but I like one of my really good friends. We have a tendency, like a good chunk of our friendship, and he's been one of my best friends for 15 years, possibly longer, is we just like send each other horrible combinations of words. And one day I just texted him, "Peel my slack banana."
That can be the title of this episode, David.
There you go. I'll make it so.
Make it so.
Make it so. Well, I hear the tooth boy is back with my wife, so I'm gonna check in and see how that goes. I really appreciate you guys' time. I had a lot of fun talking to you. I really did.
Yeah, this was fun, man.
Likewise, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you guys have a good rest of your quarantine, and keep putting out good stuff, man. I'm a huge fan, and I'm really thankful you guys talked to me. I really appreciate it.
It means a lot.
Oh, of course. This has been fun.
Yeah. You guys have a great rest of your night and a good week. Okay.
You too, man.
Goodbye, David.
Thanks so much, man.
Bye, Jake. Goodbye, Andrew.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
You all.
Guys, love you all.
Boy.
Bye.